go. Okay, well, welcome everyone to our weekly ecosystem office hours call. I am your host, Jinx, and we are joined, as always, by the best and brightest in the Pocket ecosystem. Nothing much happening this week, so I'm just going to call that a meeting and we can all go home early. I'm kidding, of course. So I have not gotten much sleep. I have yet to take a shower, but I can tell you one thing, Shannon is live. And we're watching blocks being produced. We are getting people migrated across as quickly as possible. And we are working with all of the providers and participants in the ecosystem to get them up and rolling. I cannot even tell you how many people that big shout outs and thank yous are owed to. Starting, of course, with the Grove team, Arthur, Olshansky, Brian, Fred, Red One, Pascal. I've seen you guys like constantly all over the chats, being highly responsive and working to get solutions for the little bumps and scrapes along the way worked out as quickly as possible. The migration working group, and especially some of the folks who have been leading the charge there, like Pocket Scan, Jorge, and Ramiro, and Breezy, of course, another just absolute rock star in there helping to get things built out. All of you who've been participating in the process, I would spend the whole meeting trying to name everyone who's been part of it, but just a huge thank you from all of us in the ecosystem, given how so many of us rely on it. And our lives are built around it. The work that you do is seen and appreciated. And yesterday could have been an utter disaster. It could have gone wrong 1,000 different ways. Instead, it was really just the same as any other broad scale software rollout and migration. We've had some little bumps and scrapes here and there, some things that have had to be adjusted and fixed on the fly. I know the Grove team is pushing protocol updates very quickly to address some of those things and to help us get past some of the heavy lifting that still needs to be done. But at this point, we have seen nearly 100 million Pocket claimed on the Shannon side of the fork. And we are seeing services coming up live. I think we've got just about all of the services represented on the chain on this side. We will be working to migrate a ton more nodes along the way and to get validators up and running and all the rest of that stuff. The bridges will probably stay down another anywhere from 12 to 24 hours or so. We want to make sure that we have all the validators and such behind those 100% working, and we're still generating some of the associated accounts with those. But that's a whole lot of information very quickly, so let's do a little bit of a deeper dive, starting with the Grove team.
I don't have much to add today other than thanks so much everybody who's been jumping in. Getting the big next milestone for us is to restore service to the portal and really start to flow traffic on mainnet, put everything through its paces. We're very actively working with the foundation to adjust parameters, and thanks so much to Ramiro for spotting a few glaring issues, and thanks so much to all the other community members, especially Breezy, Easy2Stake, everybody who's been active, and Oski. I can't name all the names, but thank you very much to everybody who's been super active. We're doing everything we can to, catch the little things and fix them, but overall, everything's looking very successful. And again, we'll be working very closely here in the next hours to day to move traffic over to mainnet.
Fantastic. Art, anything you want to add on there?
Yeah, I'm basically on exchange support. There's some stuff that we're doing to help them out. That's basically the reason everything's going to take another 12 to 24 hours. There's just exchanges are wild beasts. So they have different requirements for claims. So we will get everything open shortly.
Beautiful.
Beyond that, everything else is Gucci. Team did a great job. Honestly, I don't know how you guys feel, but pushing that button into then migrating and it just works. That's why it takes this much time to get something out the door. You want to do it right. We did it right. So kudos to the team. Kudos to everyone. Thank you.
I have to say that I was like literally with great trepidation on the first count that I migrated, which for the record only had 2 pocket in it, uh, because I just had no idea how well that process is going to work. And then seconds later, I saw it on the Shannon side, and I'm like, this is awesome. Super impressed with what the Sooth Vault team has built. That was just incredible. We have some big shoes to fill with the upgrades that we're going to be doing for the web wallet and getting Kepler support and all the rest of that. But the Sooth wallet was just an amazing and painless process. A huge fan of that. I do want to point out for the record, we've been getting a lot of questions about when exchange back up. Literally entirely their decision. And I can tell you from working with almost all of the exchanges over the last couple of weeks, and also with having the Grove team in there as part of those conversations, their processes are wildly different from one to another. Some just use APIs, some have cold and hot wallets of tokens, some are literally running their own nodes and needed to claim their nodes on the other side of the network. So all of them do their own thing the way that they do, and neither PNF nor Grove has anything to do with how they do things, their processes, or the timeline that they're going to bring their services back online. Obviously, all accounts and such are safe within those networks. There's no worries about that. But when it comes to how quickly are they going to allow withdrawals and deposits again, you will have to rely on them and their announcement system to determine that. Also, in case y'all weren't aware, a little exchange that some of y'all may or may not have heard of called Binance listed Pocket's base pair in their alpha trading board this morning. And they have signaled to the market at large that they have some interest. They're watching what happens there. So if you'd like to use the Binance trading board to trade Pocket on base, you are certainly welcome to do so. Links have been posted in the community chat channel. Let's see what else. Oh, the W Pocket bridge requires that all of our validators, which there are a bunch of, 7 of, that are specifically dedicated to W Pocket, be fully back up and running. That is taking a little bit of work that will, and we cannot bring the bridge back up online until all of those are fully up and running and online and verified. So again, probably another 12 to 24 hours on getting the W Pocket bridge back online. That being said, you are able to bridge within the DeFi chains themselves. So you can either get Pocket using stable coins or other tradable pairs on Base or Solana or Ethereum. Or if you have W Pocket, you can bridge it to Base or Solana or the regular Pocket token on Ethereum using the multi-chain bridge at bridge.pocket.network. But as far as when you'll be able to bridge in and out of the native Pocket token, that's going to be a little while still. And to answer Miss Kitty's question, is Binance Alpha available to U.S. citizens? Because they have listed the base pair, then that means that you can use the standard base DEX interface, either through one of your preferred swap platforms or through Aerodrome itself, which is where the base pair lives from a liquidity pool perspective. So yes, you can participate in that process, even if you're not using the Binance platform directly. Which probably is good news for a lot of US folks who have been looking to engage with some of the greater markets. Yep, DEXs, as we have mentioned before, are an easy way for anyone to participate in trading. And now one of those pairs is probably the highest volume and most active pair. So I will certainly not recommend or even suggest that you do anything, but should you care to, those platforms are there. Okay, I think that is the majority of the immediate announcements and agenda that we get out. I am sure there are many questions around the upgrade and everything else that's going on, so hit me. Hit me. Did that now become a new soundboard entry? Eddie Zags, hi there. Follow the documentation from here. More Shannon migration and successfully claim my account on the beta testnet. I don't have any suppliers, applications, or other assets to claim. What should be my next steps? Can I repeat this process on mainnet and start a validator? Okay, claimed my account on the beta testnet. Is that just a wallet account, to clarify? Yes, okay. Yeah, so you want to use the soothe process that we have outlined, and I'll drop that link in again here. And we will drop that link probably 100 more times over the next 3 or 4 days, which is perfectly fine. We want to make sure that this link gets out everywhere because this is the dead easiest method for moving from Morse to the Shannon mainnet. Once it is there, then you can coordinate with node runners as they come back online, or if you are an infra engineer type, then you can work on building your own node. You can find in that documentation in a slightly different place from where you have referenced there, how to do setups for suppliers and validators and all the rest of that, and you are certainly welcome to play along. Or you can wait for the node runners themselves to all be 100% back online when I'm sure they'll be opening up new staking. You can reach out in either the node chat or community chat channel to talk to node runners there directly. But please, please, please keep an eye out for scammers. We have literally, I cannot even get a sentence reply in before somebody tries to slam some bullshit link in there. Just remember, we are not sending people off-site. There is no new Discord help desk. And if a Jinx DMs you, he ain't me, because I don't do that. Never, ever, 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 ever give anyone your seeds, your passphrases, your passwords, any sort of information that can be used to interact with any of your accounts, because if they have that, they can steal it. And if they can steal it, they will steal it. And there is nothing that we can do about that. I've gotten a number of support requests and all the rest of that for people who have given away their seed phrases for some reason, and then predictably had all of their tokens taken. We cannot help with that. That's how crypto works. If you give them the keys, they can take the house. So please, please protect your crypto. I cannot urge that any more strongly. I guess that was kind of a tangent, but it's been relevant. Oh, just an FYI, the current params to be adjusted only allow for 10 validators, highest stake validators on the network at a time. Feel free to stake, but just be mindful of this. Correct, yeah. And to follow on as the network stabilizes and we're seeing other people add validator stakes, especially the folks that we have oh Jesus Christ. Sorry, one second. When I say no, I am not. I will never DM. Good God. It is never ending. So we will be increasing the max validator parameters with validators from node runners who we have been working with already as they begin to set this up, or as they begin to set up their stacks. And we will discuss what the final max validator parameter will be once we're ahead of a network stable situation. And as Fred has pointed out, be wary of running a validator, as slashing, jailing, and Pocket Cosmos is very aggressive. I would recommend that if you are not one of the not one of the node runners who has already been active during this process and is familiar with the structure of the network deeply, it's probably not a good time to jump in and start experimenting.
Yeah, not to discourage anybody, but 2 of the top node runners in this call right now got slashed on mainnet. So just make sure that you know what you're doing.
And Ian said, which is exactly why you shouldn't try to force up the validator stake threshold to super high values by limiting the set to only 10. Not sure where you drew that conclusion from. The limiting the set to only 10 has nothing at all to do with trying to force up the validator stake thresholds. We actually have a significant amount of validation stake that we are ready to deploy. The current stake threshold is entirely based on getting the network stable and getting everyone over and up and running. Our intention is to quickly up that validator stake amount to add on everyone who is successfully staking validators along the way. The incentives
Yeah,
are backwards.
I
Yeah, I
I
don't
was
even know
just
what
gonna
that means.
I was just
Go
gonna
ahead.
comment really quick. The reason why it's small right now is because we need to upgrade and iterate on the network very quickly. And so, getting everybody to pull the trigger on an upgrade is very difficult when you have, hundreds of parties, many of them anon. So instead, we're trying to retain a good bit of control so we can just force upgrades through while we're getting over the hump of the transition.
Yeah, we have a limited set of validators until we reach network stable, which we expect to happen in very short order. And we have a number of validators that are all ready to stake from both node runners and the foundation itself. There is zero intention to do that. Why would someone want to risk large client stake when buggy clients ensure a good chance of being slashed? Um, I don't know. That's a question for you to work out with your strategy, I guess. I don't have any idea of what buggy clients ensure a good chance of being slashed means in relation to us getting the network stable and addressing outstanding issues and iterating quickly to make sure bugs are squashed and then opening up the validator stake to a higher amount. So you can certainly make your strategy decisions for yourself and your clients however you like. Other questions? I see Ramiro's typing. Ramiro said, "I think you are mixing validators with supplier slashing." Yeah, I mean that's probably part of the case. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm gonna really expound on what Fred said there. Validators do not equal suppliers in Shannon. In all of Morse, validators were the servicers who were the 1,000 highest staked on the network. My average validator was staked around 180,000 to 200,000 pocket. And that was best of both worlds because I would regularly get service rewards, and I would occasionally get blocks in validation, usually like maybe 2 or 3 a month or so, which acted as a nice bonus on top of the servicer supply. Um, this is not the case in Shannon at all. This is a native Cosmos ecosystem, which means that validators are a distinct and separate actor within the ecosystem. They have a different approach to things like rev share using commission. They have the ability to allow for delegation, which we will be moving forward on as quickly as possible to help support. But if you want to if you want to learn more about the validators themselves, head for the Cosmos documentation and read up on validation there, because this is a native Cosmos chain, so our validators will work in that way. And I expect once we have Kepler support and all the rest of that, anyone who's familiar with delegation using Kepler in the Cosmos ecosystem will probably find that process rather intuitive. Also, stake amount in validators in Shannon matters because the way that validator reward distribution is calculated in Cosmos is as a percentage function of the total validation stake. So a lot of the folks who were running 100 hybrid servicer validators over on Morse are most likely going to be consolidating down to just a couple of validator nodes on the Shannon side. See Fred still typing. Other questions are welcome. Yeah, validators are stake weighted. So if there are 10 validators allowed, it is the top 10 validators by stake, which are actively producing blocks. If validator 1 has a stake of 90K and validator 2 through 10 have stakes of 1K each, then validator 1 will produce 90% of blocks and earn 90% of rewards. And that would be the function of the percentage of stake that I was talking about. So that's a nice, clear math example there. So we expect that because of this, we'll see significant consolidation. For those of y'all who are planning on validating, I would keep that in mind that, you know, the days of an 80,000 K validator are probably behind us. Realistically, we are going to see validators that have 1 million plus pocket staked either by themselves or with delegation or some combination thereof. So I would expect validators to get a lot higher. So if you plan on participating in the validation pool, just keep that in mind as part of your strategy. And obviously, we'll have time over the next couple of weeks to figure out where things shake out, and cool down period for anyone who is unstaking in Shannon to reconfigure their particular farm. So I imagine that 3 to 4 weeks we'll start to see what the long-term structure of the network really starts to look like. Other questions? Janowski's typing. When do we expect relays on mainnet? Soon, yes. Yeah, so it's as all the servicers and suppliers are up and the parameters are tuned correctly, and all of that is working together, then traffic will be turned back on the network. We saw that there were some bumps and scrapes with getting services up and live. That seems to be mostly resolved at this point. Last time I looked at the service check, right. And once the network parameters have been fully tested out, because we've had to do some adjustment on that almost in real time to try and keep things reasonable. And as Fred mentioned, yeah, some blocks were producing significantly higher rewards than they should have yesterday for some period of time. So that's just a function of getting the network parameters all zeroed in correctly. And we also had some issues with like how zeros are tracked in Excel and things along that line. So quickly, we expected some bumps and scrapes along the way. We've had them, we've solved them, we've sprayed some feel good, make the boo boo go away spray on it. And we are quickly getting to the point where we can call this initial network stable.
Jinx, I have a question.
Sure.
I found a weird situation, like an edge case. There is a node which has a output address set. They are non-custodial, but their output address has 0 balance. So those accounts does not exist as accounts. So they are not able to migrate the account to claim the nodes. There are missing accounts on the state imported. I can give
I
you
think
the,
that's
the proof.
Jorge, that's a question for the technical team. I think you may want to just call it
Yeah.
out there.
Okay, but
Just call it out internally in our group, because this is not going to be answered on this call.
okay.
Thanks. Just provide.
Yeah, I'm giving you the example. There are
Yeah,
more
yeah.
like this.
Yeah. Provide the examples. I mean, I'm assuming these are coming from customers of Pocket Scans, correct?
Yes, my friend in this case, he called me
Okay.
to say this, and I was reviewing, and there are more like this.
Okay, cool. Review them and then let's discuss when
Ready.
once you go. So thanks so much.
Any other questions? See how this is typing? Zatar, you got a hot mic?
Oh, sorry. That better mute me. I'm driving.
Understood. There we go. Server mute. Fixed. And Zatar, of course, whenever you'd like, we can we'll bring you back in. And Anowski's typing again. Some suppliers staked with 0.002 fees, others with 0.076 fee or higher. How to configure gas parameters to lower gas fees. Any of y'all on the team have a high-level explanation of that? I'm confident that that's probably something that will require text in the channel to answer in detail.
I'll just say that as this evolves, I mean, you're gonna have to make some decisions on how do you want to stake and have fees on your supplier. Over time, gateways will become much more discerning over nodes with higher fees than lower fees.
Can I add that I think this is almost entirely a function of the configuration of the RPC node that you're talking to. So if you run your own RPC node, you can set your own gas prices, I think.
Got it.
I've made some experimentations before that, and mainly the command line you use to stake have some parameters. So if you tweak these parameters, you can have high or low fees. So my question is mainly about what would be the best values for these parameters to have the best, the lowest fees. And of course, I'd say, Breezy, is there any recommendation from protocol team to put these values in place for everyone?
I think this is another one of those things we should take
Okay.
into the Discord.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's some of these questions obviously are going to rely on the ability to make sure we're communicating with everybody who's in the migration working group and the node runner teams to get some general consensus on. But I think the simple, high level, longer term answer here is that fees are going to be a consideration when SDKs are accessing the network. So you can, market supply and demand, you can gamble on a higher fee, and then you'll probably see a relative increase or decrease in total relays around that. But it doesn't sound like there's a fixed recommendation yet, and that's probably something that should be up for discussion as part of the parameter tuning. Fred said public RPC sets a kind of normal. Yeah, so the public RPC endpoints will be a sort of baseline default. And that's also the approach that we took for the foundation participating in the F-Chains program in regards to node runner rev shares. You know, as a node runner, you are free to set your rev share to be whatever it is, whatever you like. If you can operate profitably at a significantly lower than rev share, then God bless you and tear it up. But we are publishing what we are doing in the foundation as part of our F-Chains program to make sure that we are setting a standard on, you know, a general default range. I know personally, I always paid a little bit higher of a rev share than the average, but it was because I had a strong relationship and trust with the engineers who run my nodes. So I don't have an issue with that. Not everyone is looking for the same thing when making these kinds of selections. Other questions? Actually thought we'd have a lot more generalized questions, but it seems like most of the folks on the call are fairly technical participants in the ecosystem and probably have been following a lot of those conversations. I see Breezy's typing in there. I am just happy the community is active again. I gotta tell you, man, I mean, you're not wrong about that at all. We definitely had a long slog of time where there was not a lot of active conversation in many of the channels, either on here or on Telegram. And seeing the burst of activity over the last month has definitely done my heart some good. I got to tell you, it's, you know, I've been part of Pocket since it was a dream, and not even anything vaguely resembling testnet. When I first joined, different product. It was an SDK to include in a mobile app that would allow you access to blockchain data, primarily Ethereum, with plans to maybe support other chains in the future. The Pocket that we have now is 1,000 light years away from that, and I have seen that evolution and that growth along the way. I've seen the size of the community and the activity of the community rise and swell. And I've had a number of people who told me I was just an idiot to not completely sell out my entire bag when it was up around $2 and be sitting somewhere on a boat in Aruba catching bonefish. And there have been some days along the way when I wondered if they were right. But we have gotten across the line. We are still together as a community. It's so nice to see so many of these faces that I have seen for literally years here be able to be part of the backside of this transition, to see Shannon live, to see the markets responding again and remembering that we exist, to see great new listing opportunities and additional interest from all sorts of business entities. We have, you know, larger institutions who have been reaching out and are interested again. Hey, what's Pocket doing? And we're starting to finally see some of the recognition that we expect to have. And we've got new customers reaching out as well, along with new products that are going to be launching here shortly. So, like, for anyone who has been here through all of the hard time and has stuck it out to now, this is for you guys. None of this would have been possible anywhere along the way without all the people who have hung through the tough times. And I can't even tell you the number of node runners and other network participants who have been like, I've never sold a single pocket. I'm like, God damn, that's that's pretty damn impressive. Because I know a bunch of people who, the pocket was sitting around 2 cents and it jumped to 4, and they're like, "Oh, that's it, I'm out. This is my exit." I'm not going to tell anybody how to manage their investing or their bags or anyone else or anything else along that way. I am not a licensed and certified financial services advisor. Please don't listen to me for shit when it comes to investing advice, because I mostly just go, wow, that looks cool. But the fact that so many of you are still here that are big believers, so many of you literally built your bags when it was in the gutter, and people were swearing it was going to die. The fact that we are finally across the line and we're seeing that growth again, and we're seeing movement towards, Pocket 2.0, essentially a whole new generation of not just what the network is, but the kinds of things that it can service and the kind of people who are participating and who are building on the network. Our plans over the next 12 months are significant. I'm sure y'all have seen the roadmap that Olshansky set up for Grove on future protocol development. We also have our roadmap on how we're building customer base and supporting developers and engineers on the network. I very much want our repo to be the app store of communication or data access applications, that no matter what kind of data you are looking for, there's an easy to use plugin essentially that you can pair with a base SDK and have a common suite of functionality. That way you can fast track this kind of app development. And I want Pocket to be known for that, to be a product in an ecosystem and an environment that really truly encourages engineers who care about decentralization, who care about unstoppable data, who care about the aspects of data like free speech, which decentralized technologies fundamentally were built to support. So we've got a ton in the pipeline right now. Everything you've seen so far is literally just the beginning, and I'm so happy to see that all of y'all are still here for that part of the ride. Jinx, any timeline for F-Chains 2 suppliers and validator staking? Yes, basically as soon as we have cleaned up the last of the heavy lifting required to move some of the secured accounts over from Morse to Shannon, we will start distributing those allocations out to our owner wallets that have been set up for the F-Chains 2 program. I think it's going to be within the next 24 hours, pretty sure. I saw that Art and the team were working on that this morning, so I expect that it's probably going to be fairly soon. And for anyone who is interested in that, yes, you are going to see some significant moves from the Treasury, the DAO Treasury, into some specific wallets. We have published all that wallet data along with the assigned providers for F-Chains 2 on the forum. So as always, you are encouraged to do all the on-chain sleuthing that you would like to do to follow the movement of those funds. The good thing about F-Chains 2 is that we are no longer paying USD to providers to help support the network. The long-term aspect of it is that we are staking DAO Treasury to support the smaller, less traffic chains in the network so that they continue to be live since they have a cost of infrastructure. And we just have an extremely friendly rev share program set up as part of F-Chains 2. So the DAO Treasury doesn't drop at all, and we're actually putting those funds to good use by staking them in the network and supporting the chains that just don't have as much traffic. So if you're not familiar with the F-Chains 2 program and you're interested in how DAO Treasury and Foundation management works, those posts are up in the forum. You can read both the allocation post, which shows the wallets and the providers, and the original F-Chains 2 explanation and outline post, which is linked to from the allocation post. We as always, encourage as much sleuthing and analysis and detailed picking through of the finances as you like. This foundation is built to be transparent, so bring it on. We're totally going to call it F-Chains 2 Services Boogaloo, Fred. That's going to stick.
Just real quick, anyone that's interested in the F-Chains, you're also welcome to reach out to me if you have any questions. Still working with Breezy on the tool to get everything set up for you guys. So I'll be reaching out, like Jinx said, probably within the next 24 hours or so with that.
Beautiful. And yeah, just to be clear on that, that's 1,365 nodes that are being staked for the foundation. So there is definitely some heavy lifting involved. It would be nice if we could just flick a switch and make that happen, but not today. All right, we're coming up on the top of the hour. Any final questions we want to get in here? All right. Well, as always, thanks to everyone for breaking out this time and spending it here with all the other principals within the ecosystem. I do see Breezy typing, so I'm gonna try and let him get that in real quick if it's a question. Type fast, Breezy. No, I'll take it to the community. It was regarding validators. Okay, solid. Thank you, sir. All right. Well, then for everybody else, I'm looking forward to seeing y'all again, same time, same channel next week. And with the complete migration all done and network stable, and we can bring some champagne bottles next week and pop those in celebration. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you then.
Thanks.